Hello and welcome to Weekly Shonen Jump Reviews. I'm Hero and he's Fonzie.
Hi, everybody.
And so now we're in the February 11th issue of Shonen Jump, and the first one we're going to talk about is the new Shonen Jump series is World Trigger
By Daisuke Ashihara.
So I've been saying that I think this is going to be like another Bleach series, with the whole like we gotta fight a bunch of monsters. It wouldn't
be Japan without fighting monsters. But then again, nobody could still take Godzilla.
So basically, the story is about in this world there are these
ultra-dimensional creatures called neighbors.
They just come up with weird names for.
I'd like to borrow a cup of sugar from these neighbors.
No, I can just see one of the neighbors come out and it's I forget his name. Mr. Rogers. Hello, would you like to be my neighbor?
Awesome.
I eat your flesh.
Yeah, well, this is where you went, Mr. Rogers. But it goes through an explanation. The first part of the chapter, it goes through an explanation of what the neighbors are, the gigantic creatures from another dimension that come and literally devour and destroy cities. But it seems that this new group
called Borders Soul Society.
I was thinking more like border control, but looking cool.
I'm also want to take note that there's like this one picture where the guy in front. Have you noticed his eyebrows are like connected to his actual hair? It's kind of weird.
Well, it is a new artist, so we gotta at least expect some parts. I mean, if you go back and look at previous Bleach and Naruto books, like the original artwork is definitely much different than what it is nowadays. So we gotta give him some leeway. But in Borders, what it seems to be how you would take on these gigantic monstrous neighbors is actually using technology from that dimension. It doesn't really explain how they got it, but I'm guessing that's what they're going to be explaining in future chapters.
And so we start with our main character who we are not told about his name until the very end, and he's a nerd.
Well, come on, he's not a nerd. He's just sort of a buzzkill. But then again, when you're being a buzzkill to bullies, keeping somebody's money bag away, I'm not literally kidding. That's how they carry their money in wallets.
Shall I tell them the spoilers?
There are no spoilers here. Not until later.
Fine. And so we see the typical, the school bullies, blah, 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 because every school needs one.
But then afterwards, we come to a lovely car crash scene where a kid has just been hit by a car.
Holy crap, he's Superman!
Yeah, Superman with white hair. And I gotta say, I already got some really, really high expectations for this Yuma Kuga guy.
I wish every time I look at him, I just keep thinking of that little chore from Orin High School.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking of him.
Yeah, I don't read Sojo. I like good stuff. But it seems that Yuma also carries around him after being hit by a car and literally getting not even a scrape of dirt on him after being hit by a car. He also seems to have some weird friend with him, which kind of looks like the eye version of a bunny. Microsoft, making the animals of tomorrow.
And so we cut to him, finally get into his class and we have a very douchey teacher.
Then again, most of them are douches because
that's Japan.
You got a class full of class clowns. You gotta at least get some sort of stern attitude. But he introduces Yuma with a much better identity because
he also explains that even though he's short, he's actually 15 years old. He must be the opposite of Ichigo.
Shonen Jump.
Where is
equal opportunity for equally proportional sizes. Don't judge him on his stature. But really, what the story is now telling us is that usually with transfers in schools, especially for foreign schools, they introduce the kids to the entire class. However, they also have strict monitoring and, well, I'll say dress codes. And unfortunately, even the smallest ring gets on even the teacher's nerves, which the teacher then has him take it off. But Yuma does not want to take it off and actually cannot take it off. The teacher obviously gets mad at this, but even tells him to leave the classroom or take off the ring. So Yuma tries to leave.
I just love the scene where the kid we saw that we saw first, and was like, well, maybe he has a reason why he can't take it off, and then all of a sudden all the other kids are like, well, hey, I got this manga that you confiscated from me. I have a reason to have it
because it's a memento of my grandfather. Go. Yeah, like this entire classroom isn't full of bullshit. Then in the strangest fashion, actually convinces the teacher out of what appears to be
this is not the ring you're looking for. This is not the ring I'm looking for. Carry on.
Yeah, I believe the Jedi mind trick has been overused.
But yeah, he actually does pull off the Jedi mind trick.
And doesn't seem to be getting too well with some of the other kids, which the bullies continuously try and make fun at him by throwing paper balls against the back of his head.
So this is what you call a hello. He shrinks it into a tiny ball and baloo!
Literally, like flicking a metal sphere into the middle of his forehead.
And he's like, yeah, I'm so cute to do it. I'm just so cute.
Dude, I love how smug he is, especially since of how short he is and how he's perceived as a character at this point.
And so we see that he's walking with our main character, and of course the bullies try to pick a fight with him because their pride is hurt. Aww.
Yeah, but this shows that the main character himself is actually quite the White Knight, which they keep making fun of him, making his nickname, by actually getting into the fight himself, allowing himself to be literally tossed around a forbidden zone neighbor emergence area. That already sounds like a bad idea.
Oh, of course. And then, of course, they start beating him up. And one of them grabs a bar
and tries to actually hit Yuma instead after taking their little.
I think we should say who's doing it. Forget it. Yuma. Yeah. Just think of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal Yuma.
Don't think that, people. Don't think that.
So Yuma stops him from throwing the crowbar, steps on his foot like really badly.
You literally
and he's still smug about it.
He has a dent in his shoe.
That's gonna be a problem. And so,
but as things are starting to go south for all of them, before all the bullies converge on them, we get a nice little warning and emergency detection of a neighbor gate being emerged.
And the monster, it's so cute! No, I'm just kidding.
It's gonna eat you and your children.
and it actually does grab one of the boys, which is the boy
that's been starting everything, sort of the head bully.
To be more specific, the one that has a broken foot.
But even so, the main hero tries to go and help him, while even Yuma says, you don't owe nothing to him. But unfortunately, we get a main character who actually has a good personality trait. And reveals
he's a member of Border! Dum dum dum!
I guess how the sequence works is, in order to enact anything having to do with Border, you say the words trigger on, which allows you to bring out the ultra-dimensional weapons that are used to defeat the neighbors.
Bankai!
Defeat the neighbors. That still sounds weird in my head. I've never had the idea of going ahead and defeating my neighbor.
Okay. See, he can have normal clothes, grab his sword, and then go through a transformation. Bleach!
Hey, doesn't matter to me. Cool sequence. Doesn't have that Sailor Moon feeling. Like we have to waste another 5 minutes on a transformation sequence.
And so he tries to fight off the monster, but apparently he's too weak to fight it.
But is able to at least free the bully, but is now probably going to be defeated himself. However,
and Yuma goes into a transformation where it's like a black suit. of that little rabbit thing is his suit.
Yeah, so in fact, this is actually his trigger that allows him to jump and even increase his own speed by, I'm guessing, 100.
Yeah, he has a move called Boost Double, I think.
And Deuce does huge amounts of damage to the neighbor, impaling and then eventually throwing a fist so hard that it breaks the neighbor in half.
Nice. And by the end of the episode, we finally get the reveal that he's a neighbor. Dum dum dum.
But we also have to give credit to the main character, whose name is still unknown.
I think we do actually find out, but
His name is Go back, dude.
Oh,
not that back. What are you doing? Do you not know controls? Inverted.
There we go.
Osamu Mikumo. That's the character's name. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. That was
nothing really memorable about that name.
Well, we'll eventually get to memorize it later on because, we're going to be saying it a whole lot. All we know of him is White Knight, and that was usually his pet name from the bullies.
So he's Two-Face.
Okay there, Harvey Face.
Scary Face.
But as a complete analysis, I have high hopes for this because really it's got an interesting storyline. And not to give too much away, but it seems that Yuma was sent here as a neighbor by his father who created a trigger to defeat other neighbors. That means that on the other side of this dimension, there's probably some shit that's going down that, well, seems halfway interesting. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of World Trigger as it goes on. However, we don't have time for that. Instead, we have One Piece to catch up on.
Enter Doflamingo.
And if everybody does remember, Doflamingo is pissed.
How pissed is he?
Let's see, I'm not Ed McMahon here, so I'm not going to state the fact that, and I'm just going to remind the fans, Doflamingo is pissed. That's not good. But before we get to any of that, we actually find that the rest of the G5 members are going to save their former friends because they now have the antidote to how to stop the poison and to break them free from it. And of course, Brownbeard gets a nice little chance to do the same after Smoker allows him to go and take the rest of his crew as long as they still plan to be arrested. Yeah, like they could get away from Smoker. But we noticed something strange going on with Buffalo and Baby Five's bodies that are still on Punk Hazard. Oh.
What do you want me to do? I turned one.
Sorry, guys. Inverted controls for the computer. Andrew does not know.
Okay. If you want me to turn pages, use finger language.
Finger language.
Oh my.
But we see, getting back to the story, we notice that both Buffalo and Baby Five's heads have actually returned. This, of course, means that Doflamingo has made his grand and terrifying entrance.
It's so scary.
But even more fact is that he also seems to possess Supreme King Hake, which he uses to take out most, if not all, of the members of G5.
Now, if I may, now, I've seen some other podcasts talk about this chapter, and based on what I've heard, is that we never see Doflamingo get pissed, and it's actually scary when he does.
He's always been a person who smiles and smiles. Even his own motto is, "You have to smile more."
So he basically took lines from the Joker. Why so serious?
Essentially, this guy is probably the version of the Joker in One Piece because this guy's literal name is Joker in the black market. However, since being found out, he doesn't seem to be too happy about it and has his eyes on Smoker. And with, of course, his weirdest, his still very unknown power, he tends to shred up everybody and even control people's movements and bodies. It's still an unknown power, but he uses it all on G5 without any hesitation, and even starts to ask where the hell Trollfigler went, and Smoker decides not to say a damn thing, before we see a blood-splattered shot of 2 cigars flying into the air and saying, "What is Admiral Smoker? Really, you're gonna kill him?"
Dum dum dum.
However, we have less carnage to talk about and more of the plan having to do with the future of the Straw Hats. Turns out what they're planning to do is still with Trollfigler's plan to take on one of the four emperors first. And how are we going to do that? First, we're going to take on the supplier of the Smile Fruit that keeps Kaido and his 100 beast army alive. And in fact, we're heading on to Doflamingo's island, Dressrosa. However, we have a little bit of a problem since we also seem to see that Momosuke and the samurai are still on the ship, and find out that they have business on Dressrosa as well.
How much do you want to bet that the samurai is actually going to join the team? How much you want to bet?
I'm probably going to bet 50-50 on that, because we've had people who have been on the crew for quite some time but ended up leaving. People like Jinbei and Vivi were on that ship for a while, and it was probably looking like Jinbei would join the crew eventually, but he decided to take care of some business first. However, back to the matter at hand, Trollfigler's plan is still in motion to head to Dressrosa, while everybody is still coordinating of how in the hell Caesar was still able to produce the thing, and is even, well, I'll say conscious enough to gloat about it, and making sure that the Straw Hat crew knows that they're all dead for taking on Doflamingo. While Sanji gives him a swift kick to the face, Chopper still continues to be, as the loyal doctor, constantly patching up anybody, even if they're the enemies. This is what happens when you get good character development, especially when your character's a friggin' reindeer.
Now it's probably because of the whole two-year time skip. But he doesn't look anything unlike he used to in the.
That's Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar Clown from the very beginning.
Oh, I thought you thought that was Chopper.
No,
that would be an insult.
No, no, I was talking about Caesar Clown. How he looks nothing like himself from from the first season.
Well, to be honest, we really only get one shot of him, and that's usually when he used his Shinokuni gas the first time. But yeah, all that really changed was his hairstyle.
And his facial style.
But what we can tell already at this point is that they're after territory, and taking on territory, especially controlled by Doflamingo, is probably the best way to get noticed, especially by Kaido, who's already been supplied so much Smile Fruit from him. However, it seems that we also get a nice little scene of where Momosuke continuously turns back into the dragon, which of course the samurai, Kintaro, decides to forget.
And he looks like the dragon from Mulan.
Oh, you mean Mushu?
Yeah.
I love it. I love Eddie Murphy. But we also talk about the fact that we don't want to go to Dressrosa by Usopp, Chopper, and Nami, but the fact is we have to. However, even Caesar Clown is reluctant to go back there because, of course, he enjoys gloating about all of his achievements, especially with his scientific weaponry.
Plus, I like the panel. I like the panel where Usopp's like, "Anyone want to quit? Me!"
I think everybody on that ship is kind of scared, but also wants to keep going, because I especially want to keep going. Of course, even...
And Caesar's Clown's pedo face.
Well, that's his ego face. He likes telling people that he's brilliant.
His ego pedo face.
Okay, we're going to go with pedo face then. But initially, we now find out why Samurai Kintaro actually wants to head to Dressrosa. And it turns out that one of his allies is being held captive there. But we have no time for that, because we're heading back to the absolute carnage, which is Doflamingo taking on Smoker, and Smoker's lying in a pool of his own blood with scratch marks all over his face. And what appears to be Doflamingo standing over him ready to make the final blow, we get a surprising guest appearance from a 2 years later
Oh no,
Akoji.
not him!
Akoji, one of the people responsible for the climate change on Punk Hazard, has decided to defend Smoker. This is quite the confrontation. This is Smoker, Doflamingo, and Akoji.
He no longer looks like Michael Jackson anymore.
But to be honest, I'm so looking forward to this because if not many people know about the One Piece movies, One Piece Z, which had been released some time ago, Akoji made a reappearance and so did a lot of other members, showing off interesting time skips. However, this is the first time in the manga that we see Akoji's time skip, and it doesn't look like he's too happy to see Doflamingo beating up on Smoker. But hopefully we'll get to see a lot more action later on.
And now we get to One Punch Man, number 4. We start with an apartment. Yay!
Nothing more than that, just an apartment building.
And so we see our hero falling asleep, waking up, and then the giant hand of death.
Seriously, there is no dialogue. Not even yet. Not until the 4th panel.
And so he's fighting a bunch of these monsters that want to kill all humans because they were like the original people to be on Earth.
You know, a lot of these monsters seem to have good reasons to kill humanity, but really, is this the way to resolve things?
Why can't we all just get along?
Because you look like a voodoo doll. And how does he retort to this? Punch to the face.
Punch to the face, and actually get beat up, and beat up pretty bad. And so he manages to kill them all, and then he has to face the queen or king of the subterranean.
We're gonna go with king, probably because we're hiding away his molted junk.
Yeah, so then he has to face the subterranean king, and then it was all a dream. Or was it?
Or was it? No, he's gonna fight the next person, but only for a few seconds, and then he wins. And they're all dead.
They're all dead, and he's like, yeah, this is why I want to do this.
Bring it on! They left.
They left and wave a white flag that says, sorry.
There you go, One Punch Man review. What's our time?
And
50 seconds? New record!
and then the very last page shows, I guess it's some kind of like author's joke, where it says new segue, where it's a segue with actual legs.
I want it. I want it now.
Just walk.
No.
Walking is for losers. And now we get to Naruto number 619. And I gotta say, this is actually an interesting chapter.
Even though not a lot of action happened to it, it's actually more dialogue orientated.
Yeah, but it's actually very interesting because we actually get to see the 4 Hokages, actually come back to life and actually see them react to each other. Like a bunch of people at a high school reunion. Oh, hey, how you doing?
It would be no
Hey.
different if they all just met up in a friggin' coffee shop. I'm serious. Our first Hokage is just shooting the breeze with everybody, especially when he hears that who's the 5th Hokage. It's nice and depressed when knowing that his greedy little niece Tsunade is actually granddaughter.
He's like, oh no, oh this is bad.
With a cute caption of her holding money as a little child. I've never seen something so menacing in my life.
But more importantly, they wanted to ask the Hokages about the Uchihas and why they all had to be killed off. Which I guess the Uchihas had been like a very corrupt clan, and they sort of have like some sort of secret power that the more hate they feel, the more powerful they become. Which I guess is sort of like the Hulk's power.
Yes, but it's made differently. Instead, what they assume to make aware is that all Uchiha feel the most love for ninjutsu. However, when they lose that love, the overwhelming amount of hatred that they get seems to turn into something strange.
And seeing how Sasuke can go into the monkey Sharingan, that's a lot of hate.
And he seems to be, well, depressed about it. But then again, through most of the series, he's depressed about shit.
Yeah, and I think it was the 2nd Hokage, who said that the Uchiha clan is possessed by evil.
Well, they kind of have a weird scientific way of describing it, especially in this universe.
Plus, they even said that that the Uchihas and the Uzumakis have some sort of fellowship. Foreshadowing.
Yes, but as I had said before, that the Uchiha feel the most love for ninjutsu and the world itself, but when they tend to lose it, something happens in their brain, causing massive amounts of chakra to be blasted into their eyes, and eventually sort of blinding them in their own hatred, and forming, what is it?
The Sharingan.
Wow, I don't think M. Night Shyamalan could even, rack that up in suspense. I'm not calling bullshit. This is actually a good explanation of why.
And we end the chapter with Sasuke asking, "What does it mean to be a village? What does it mean to be a shinobi?" Dum dum dum.
And he's going to ask the first Hokage about this. The guy who was shooting the breeze.
And
Remember? Trying to avoid every bit of confrontation? Whining like a little bitch?
Our great leader Hokage, everybody. Who is now dead.
4 more years! 4 more years!
Hope and change!
Oh, and you thought, oh yeah, hey fans, guess what?
Don't say it!
We get to prove Hero wrong again. Guess what? DBZ is back. And of course,
and I still love the coloring. I still love it.
And of course, we have Raditz. But we haven't yet to talk about that. And we will, of course, skip cross-manage again, even though it's about all lovey-dovey crap again. But then again, this is February. The season of
the
love.
month of love.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. No homo. But to skip all the love and all the kindness we can give our loved ones, we're going to give you a nice big pile of kick-ass with Toriko. And we get to see a little bit of a, I guess fan service for George Takei in some way. But this is when we get to see...
I might not say in the first page, with all that muscle, I might think even Brawley is jealous.
Yeah, it seems that Mansumo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, has gone into this berserk-like form and is taking on a GT robot, which has usually, caused a lot of problems before and has always taken a lot of effort to destroy. And all he simply does is sandwich them between his fists.
And on the fourth page, we see Hulk Hogan with the Hulk stash.
Well, actually, I never knew that reference before. Hulk Hogan, everybody!
Yay!
And of course, he's going up against the Macho Man, who seems to also be in a weird hair day today, but I guess we're going with live pompadour.
With his Hulk stash!
Well, we see that he's completely overwhelmed with strength and actually can't seem to control it, but enjoys the battle so much. So, in short, he's a happy berserker! And loves breaking everything. But we get back to Sonny's sister, who's fighting off most of the deadlier creatures by using a special perfume made from a sleeping king monster that only wakes up 1 day a year.
And I gotta say, she's pretty masculine for a girl in this series.
Hey, dude, man, if there's a chick who could kick my ass, I'd marry her.
Oh, you would marry her to kick your ass.
But unfortunately, she seems to be met by the creep trio here, who decides to make note of their voluptuous thighs. But I like what she's going to actually do to them, because in her perfume gauntlets, she now brings out two very powerful fragrance swords. I can't wait to see these creepers getting cut up.
So she's become the Shredder.
Hey, dude, Shredder and kicks my ass. Mary, ring finger.
Ugh.
But now we also see that all of the other chefs have decided to get into the fray as well, showing off their prestigious cooking techniques in the form of deadly murder. Against, of course, hybrid creatures that were made in horrible fashion by the Byoshu Kyuya. However, of course, we get to see the Millimeter Man completely shred apart monsters left and right with his, yes, and ladies and gentlemen, that is his cooking knife. I kid you not. And of course, we see Live Bear, like completely going nuts and somehow has black teeth. And of course, Tegu decides to up the ampage by striking lightning at all the creatures. Dude, chefs in this world are kick ass. Fuck you, Ramsey! But it seems that now the Bichiokuya are actually starting to get in. With the first one starting with the Branch 1 culinary head, Elg? Yeah, he seems to be a centaur with bandages over his head.
So he's like a he's like a crossbreed of a centaur and a mummy.
Yeah, but Tegu just simply shocks him and then he falls down.
Well, that was easy.
But also we get to see now a couple of characters that we've seen before. Jerry Boy, Boogie Woods, Barry Gammon, and Serday. We already know Barry Gammon and Serday from the Century Soup arc, but we really didn't want to see them again, and especially with all these other weirdos. But then again, we get a chance to see the Gourmet Knights and the Gourmet Yakuza again.
I guess you could say this is a all-you-can-eat buffet
of death. We're not funny. But we also noticed that even Zango, dumbass, decides to get into the fight when he knows that he can't. But
so I guess he's kind of the Hercule of the series. Plus he kind of even looks like Hercule. With that beard and mustache.
Don't you mean Mr. Satan?
Yes.
However, he's easily saved by the Gourmet National Treasure, and of what she has to offer in the battlefield, we're hoping to see soon. And
now we get to Onisekui.
Like I said,
chapter 61.
Like I said, I review good things.
Shut up. This chapter was really good. Because I gotta tell you, for Ichijo, our main male protagonist, I actually have a lot of respect for this character.
I've never seen anybody so invigorated in their own work of writing on papers and making schedules.
You know what I'm talking about. And so he's hard at work, trying to get
Chitoge's mother.
Yeah, trying to get Chitoge's mother's schedule to give her free time to be with her daughter, for Christmas because she's a bitch, and so she finally, when he finally gets her scheduled all straight away, and she says, you pass,
you get your reward. Go ahead, go screw my daughter.
And he's like, are you freaking serious? She's like, what? Isn't this what you wanted? No, what I want is for you to be with your daughter on Christmas. And what does she say? She still says no! She still says no!
Well, there's got to be some sort of redeemable factor. I don't think there is.
No. But and here's the thing.
Unfortunately, our quote has to change from bitch to idiot.
Oh yeah, because the reason why she refuses to be with the daughter is because she's scared of her daughter, of not loving her anymore because she's never around, and we even get to see that she's been holding off 10 presents for 10 years. Like, she has bought a present for Chitoge, like, every year, and there are, like, 10 presents just piled up. So, yeah, I'm definitely confused, too, as to what is she really afraid of, other than that her daughter's not going to love her anymore. But Ichijo, keeps constantly trying to tell her, she doesn't hate you. Why can't you get a freaking clue?
No, through the mind of a parent, we will not know yet.
Even
in a spastic piece of rage, I'm guessing, decides to do the baka slap to Chitoge's mother in probably the weirdest fashion I've seen yet.
Yeah. Even slaps her, and he plans to actually get them together on Christmas. So what he does is that he calls Chitoge, who's at like a who was at a Christmas party of one of her classmates. He brings in the limo. He brings in the limo and drags her into the car and tells them that they're going to a fancy hotel. And just the look on everyone's face when they hear that.
I think even one of their friends faints. Yep.
Yeah.
They faint.
Yeah, one of her friends faint. And at the end of the chapter, we actually get to see that that her mom got a text message saying that she has to be on the plane early because of some snowstorm. So I have a feeling that promise is going to break. So yeah, this was actually a really good chapter. I've actually gained a lot of respect for Ichijo, because in a lot of these romantic comedy mangas, the male protagonist is usually a wimp. He's never he never takes charge of anything. He always needs somebody else to save him. And that's it for all the Shonen Jump mangas. Now let's get to Fairy Tail 319.
And boy, what a chapter this is. We left off with Gajeel seeming to be in quite the awesome state of being both a metal and shadow dragon.
Yay! Because iron and
steel go together.
And should I tell the fans of what you used to call Gajeel?
Gazelle?
Yeah.
Hey, Gazelle was probably a cool name too, if you use it right. But then again, pronunciation. We don't always get it the first time. Don't judge me.
Oh, I'll judge you. I'll judge you to the ends of the earth. Yeah, so the internet is getting slow. So basically, Gajeel has gained all the Shadow Dragon powers,
along with his Iron Dragon powers, and is disappearing all over the place, constantly doing hit and run attacks.
And probably the best part of the chapter was when he did Shadow Dragon's Roar.
Which finisher? Seriously, this is quite the finisher.
This was like the Kamehameha of this fight, where he just totally wipes him out.
And also blows up, a good portion of the city. Restraint! It's supposed to happen, right?
Nope, not in this one. And all Fairy Tail is happy. Yay, he won! While the nurses are like, oh shit!
Yeah, is this real? I'm a pumpkin, but is this real?
and so
he reverts back from his state, and he gets the fair 1 point for beating Rogue, or at this point, Ryo.
And Fairy Tail is only 4 points away from tying with Sabretooth. And then all of a sudden Rogue just leaves. That's it, just leaves.
Yeah, his shadow in fact leaves, but what it exactly is, I'm not completely still sure. But we also get to see Fro again, defending poor Ryo, who's been defeated. But of course, he doesn't.
And so
understand.
we get a little bromance going. Aww.
It's an Excel cat and his dragon master. Come on, dude. However, but we also seem to notice that, well, who else is turning badass? Natsu going back and taking on more of the castle's guard, and so is Leo with his Regulus powers.
Also, yeah, basically the guards just keep coming and coming and coming, and the Lily launches one of his attacks, but apparently
we're back to seeing these guys again, the Executioners. Not like they had their asses handed beforehand. Why do they continue? But more
importantly, something is very strange going on. As you see, who's the guy's name? The guy who we thought was the main villain.
Yeah, and also who's turning pretty badass, Arikados.
Yeah, and Arikados has a strange suspicion that the Queen
may in
No,
fact be the one who's
no.
lying. The princess.
Yeah, the princess has probably lied about the prophecy. So we have so we have two suspicions that either the princess has been lying, or that this future Lucy has been lying. So
whose side are we
only one
really
of them
on?
is lying.
At this point, there are too many conspiracies to be said, but at this point, seeing Arikado's, finally deciding to, take the gloves off by putting the gloves on, literally, I'm saying that we're probably going to start reaching the conclusion of this very, very soon.
Which I'm going to make a prediction that it is the princess who is actually the villain.
However, I'm enjoying the idea of the next chapter's title already being released.
Fierce
to be
lightning.
continued. Yes, a battle hopefully with Luxus and Jura. Well, that is the review for that. However, now is usually the last part of the podcast, which we give a recommendation out to another manga that isn't usually of Shonen. And to be honest, this one is actually quite different because it's actually made by a Korean author named Cho Jung-man, and I hope I'm pronouncing that one correctly.
I think you did.
The manga in question is Witch Hunter. Now, I gotta say this, there's something simplistic about the art style that I kind of enjoy, and especially the story. It's all about witch hunting, but in a much different story to tell. One of the main heroes is actually trying to find a certain witch to confront her and ultimately try and beat her. But whether or not he's trying to kill her or of some other purpose is still unknown. But I'm enjoying reading it because he has quite the personality, and of course he's quite an evil mastermind himself. But check out Witch Hunter whenever you can.
So yeah, that's all we got for today.
This has been Hero and Fonzie.
Don't forget to subscribe and
Subscribe to Viz Media, and we are signing off.